Hello guys, Actor here and welcome to Worst Venn Diagrams. This is what it will look like. It will look like a slightly more messy version of Venn diagram, or Boolean Venn diagram. And it's in concept, this is exactly the same as any other Venn diagram module with a few changes. There are multiple new binary operators, a few new unary operators, I think, and also there are new unary ones because of uncertainty, meaning that things can either be true, false, or uncertain, which is what the T, F, and U stand for respectively. So, the aim and the process is pretty much the same as a regular Venn diagram. You just have to take into account uncertainty and any other shifting. So let's have a look at it. Let's start with the outermost logic thing, which is the ampersand here. So the ampersand, also, the colour of the text will tell us what we're aiming for. So in this case, we're aiming for this total expression to be false. So we're going to be clicking on every region that is false. So now looking at the operator, the ampersand. To get false, we need both sides to either be false, one to be false and the other one uncertain, so both ways, or both being uncertain. As you can see, the gaps here are the uncertain. It's double uncertain. This is uncertain false, because it's in the uncertain region here. The uncertain region being the ring around the outside, and outside of B, same here, and then the outside being both false. So we're aiming for both sides being either of these. We also have a minus sign on the A here. We'll get to that when we get inside the bracket here. So, this is corresponding to left and right hand side, although in this case it didn't really matter. But it would matter in something like this one or this one. We're going to first set the outside one, which is C, to one of these, let's say false. Let's try and get the other side of it to become false as well for this top one. So let's look inside now. We have a slightly more familiar symbol, and we want this to be false as well. So it's false as well if both parts are false. But this is where this comes in. A minus mean which means for minus, false is actually unsure. So for false, we actually have false here and unsure here, giving our first region to be, because as we can see here, uncertain corresponds to false here. False for this gives false, and then false in total gives us what we wanted, total false, as you can see here. So we're going to click on the region on this diagram, label UFF, which is here. And you know if you got it right if you don't get a stroke and it lights up in the colour you are aiming for. In this case, red. That is the only way we can get false here. So now, we could also have this side being uncertain, as we see here. So how do we get uncertain with this? At least one of them has to be uncertain. So that's either... But specifically, one of them has to be... At least one has to be uncertain, and if only one of them is, the other one has to be false. So let's set the one that hasn't got anything, B, to false, meaning this one has to be uncertain, but uncertain in this case actually refers to true. So we're going to be pressing the region TFF, which is here. Let's say it to, we're aiming for this being false and this being unsure. We think that's the one we did. Yeah, that's the one we already did. So if we set this one to unsure, this one can either be unsure as well or false. So unsure as well would be true. So TUF. Or false, which is actually unsure. UUF. We just double check that. Yeah, false, unsure, but false here is actually unsure. UUF. Okay. Think that's everything we need to do for that one? We did both unsure. We did both unsure, which was TUF. We'll come back to that one if I didn't. So, in no cases will C be true, because that would make it true in total, or unsure. So let's move on to C being unsure, and we'll go through the same thing again, basically. Unsure, false. To make this side false, we want the inside to be false, meaning we want both to be false. So false here, then false corresponds to unsure here, so we also have UFU. And then we can have that side being unsure, which looking here again, we can have unsure, which corresponds to unsure here, and true here, TUU. Here. We can have unsure, false, and false, unsure. So unsure, false, which translates to unsure, unsure, which is the circle here. So this donut shape around this one. And then send this one to false. False, unsure. To make the A unsure, we're going to put true. Because we need unsure, false. And if one of them was false already, the other one has to be unsure. To TFU. And we get our module. Because we fulfilled everything we needed. I'm going to do another example of that. Might be a bit risky, but the other slightly smaller one. And this might end up taking this video to be much longer than it needs to be, but we'll see. Okay. So for this one, we have the triangle. We actually have the triangle both times there. And we're aiming for false. So we want false, false, true, unsure, unsure, true. Yeah, okay. So let's start out with A being the one by itself this time. Let's start with that being false. We need to make the other side false. But this time the symbols are on the outside of the brackets, meaning if we're aiming for false here, looking at the corresponding one here, if we want it to be false, we're actually trying to make the inside unsure. inside unsure is going to be both unsure or true false. So we're looking for UU, true false, or false true. The inside actually doesn't change, so we're just going to be inserting these in. Just to clarify again, since it's on the outside, the whole thing here is going to be different. And since we're aiming for false false, we need the inside here to correspond to false, which is actually unsure. But since nothing on the inside is changed, we can just plug in whatever would make it unsure, which would be unsure, unsure, true false, or false true. So we're going to be clicking on, I'm hoping I don't get this wrong, FUU. As you can see, we're going for false again in total. FTF and FFT. Okay, we've got that one done. So now, if we set A to unsure, remember this column here is referring to A. So let's go for that one now. A being unsure, we're aiming for this part to be true. This part being true, we actually want, it actually doesn't change, we want this to be true no matter what. So looking here, the stuff that makes unsure true would be if both are true, one is false, the other, and then UT and UF and FU. Unsure false and false unsure. Because we're aiming for true anyway. So we're going to be clicking on UTT, UUF, and UFU. And finally, saying A to true, we want the middle part here, or the other part here to be unsure. Unsure with this corresponds to being false. So making this false, the inside being false, we need false false. We need true unsure or unsure true. Because it's true in B and unsure here. So we're also going for TFF, TTU, and TTU and TUT. Okay, so module. That's actually quite a nice one. So that was actually quite a quick one as well. So that was worst Venn diagrams. In total, you can just read everything off as if it was an all Venn diagram just with 3 values and more circles. Just remember, the inner circle is true, the outer circle is unsure, and outside the circle is false. Either way, hopefully this makes worst Venn diagrams a bit more clearer, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. I'll see you later.